They call it the Line City. But is it a utopian dream or a dystopian nightmare? We explore the answers today on Makayo Messenger. Welcome to Makayo Messenger. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. They call it a smart city. But who's smarter, the people that made it, or the people foolish enough to live in it? As Obi-Wan once asked, who's the bigger fool? The fool or the fool who follows him? Here's the madman behind it all, someone who has both the money and the power to make it happen. But should it happen? And what exactly is gonna happen when he gets this thing built? Well, they've already started to break ground, and they're already making headway at building the Line City, the longest city ever created. Here's their propaganda promo video, showing you a young girl in a city feeling despair. Does she run out to the countryside and enjoy all the open, fresh beauty of God? No! She runs through that city and jumps into an even smaller city, called the Line, and tries to find nature inside of a concrete jungle. That makes total sense, right? And this is what they sell to you. Of course, what you get, I'm sure, in the end will be much different than this, but this is how they get you to go along with it. Now, why would I want to live in this when I can live in a real countryside? Unless, of course, they're preparing for a time when you can't. It doesn't seem like there are many windows. I'm not sure how much sunshine you're going to get when you're living in the bottom of a cavern, but they want to make it seem like, oh yes, this is a beautiful thing, as they live in these little pizza boxes all pressed together. But they're trying to sell it to you like it's a beautiful, wonderful thing as she floats up into the sky and lands on the roof, where of course the very special people live. Oh yes, you must work your way up to live on the roof of the Line. Not just anybody could live there, surely. So this is the idea of this sort of perfect world in the middle of the desert. Or is it? You know, there's a movie called Elysium where the wicked, tyrannical cabal all lived in space on a little spinning wheel, and there they had all the beautiful things of creation. Kind of ironic, you know, you have the whole earth below you, wouldn't you want to get the God's natural creation? But no, we're going to go and be mechanical about it, and go up into space, and then try to recreate what we already had on Earth, right? Makes a lot of sense. But here, you know, they have everything you could possibly want and imagine, including a healing bed where you can be healed of any ailment that you might have. Meanwhile, the rest of us, along with Matt Damon, are fighting it out on the Earth in the ghetto that it has turned into as we live out our lives in District 5 of the world ghetto, where everyone just battles one another for survival. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Or in this film, Snowpiercer, where everyone lives on a line. They live on a train, actually, and they pummel through a frozen tundra of a world, and the only place to survive is on this prison train, where all the riffraff live at the back of the train, and they finally break free, some of them, and start making their way forward on the train, and they begin to realize where all the good stuff is. And all the rest of the cars is where all the rest of the cabal is hanging out as they progressively go through car after car of amazing wonders on this moving train that never stops, and they eventually get to a room where they're just in awe that there are these young kids all clean and well-dressed learning in a school, and they're just in wonder at all the things that they're seeing on this train. Of course, let us not forget the Hunger Games, which showed this so well as people fought from one district to another, fighting over food. And here's a map of all the districts that they had there, and they were all separated and kept in their little prison camps. And you know, it's kind of funny when I actually look at the houses that they had. I'm like, man, I mean, they actually had it made. You know, compared to the people in the city who live in the grunge, you're out here in the green and so forth. If they just had a few seeds to grow some food, they probably could have been doing it just fine out there. But the line in the sand is what we're looking at today. Why would they put this line in the sand? Very odd choice for them to make. We see it's quite a long line going deep into Saudi Arabia here, and very curious way to want to build a city. Why would you build it as a straight line like this, unless perhaps you have more purposes than just creating a city? As you can see, it's over 105 miles long. That's crazy. You know, there are a lot of cities that can fit in between 105 miles. So why would you build this line? And how am I ever going to visit my friend at the other side? Now, supposedly there's a train that'll get you from one end to the other in 20 minutes. But why not just build it closer together? Like, for example, what we do in cities where we have grids, where you have lines intersecting each other, so you don't have to necessarily go all the way down to the end of the road where it finally ends to get what you need. You could actually get it next door. But they want to compress this so that you live in these, what they call 15-minute cities, right? And this is the concept that they're pushing now, that everything you possibly need will be within 15 minutes of you, Probably do another video on this as well. But this is what they're pushing. Why? Because it's going to be a prison. You're going to be trapped in those 50 minutes. Kind of like the Truman Show, you know, where you can't go outside your boundaries and you'll be trapped in those boundaries. But don't worry, everything you have will be there, or everything you need will be there. Right. Like freedom? Will freedom be there? Not so sure about that. So in any case, you know, concentric circles would seem to make a little bit more sense than one long line. But who knows? Maybe they're trying different shapes, and maybe this line is just one more effort to say, hey, let's experiment. Let's try a line. We'll try some circles. We'll try different things. Let's see which prison camp works the best. And in the movie The Giver, for example, they use a cliff to keep everybody in their little concentric circle communities. So the question is, you know, what is this line really all about? Why is it going 105 miles inland? Is it really just a city? Or are we talking about something a little deeper than this, be it a prison, for example, Escape from New York, where the whole city was a prison. You know, Insurgents is another recent movie that explored that as well, Escape from LA. You know, Alcatraz, remember Alcatraz, surrounded by water. So here you are in the middle of the desert, so once even if you escaped this line, you couldn't really go anywhere, right? There's nowhere to go because you're in the desert. So you're just going to die. So you're kind of trapped in there. The recent Star Wars creation Endor explored this as well, with the prisons in the water. So what really is this wall that they're building? And could it be, actually, in addition to being a prison, could it actually be a border? Are they creating new borders? Is this a way, are they using a city to create separation? Because if you think about it, you can't get around this line. It's essentially a border because you can't go through it, right? So if you're traveling, you can't get through this border. I mean, look how long that is. It's going into Saudi Arabia. Now, interestingly, it's very near Mount Sinai as well, which is kind of curious. But yeah, if you wanted to get around that, you know, you got to go all the way to the end, or you may have to go through it, and maybe there's a fee for that. Kind of reminds you of the Great Wall of China, which can be seen from space, very similarly, where they created a border in the mountains in China, and it's still there today. And people did seem like people lived, at least the guards probably lived inside of those towers there along the Wall of China. Kind of makes you think about what they're doing in China today. Putting people in shiny metal boxes. And are they going to line these boxes up on the border? Is this going to be the new border that they create? Let's just put all the prisoners and all the sick on the border. That will keep people from going in and out, you know, because it'll be heavily guarded. It's kind of an interesting concept. Australia's doing the same kind of thing as well, with some very proud workers who just love to oppress others. And could it possibly be because this is the heart of the trade routes? So could they have this long line there so they can intercept all those who are trying to trade? And in order to trade, you have to go through the line. You can't get around the line. So could that be the motive behind this, as a way to cut people off at the pass and force them, kind of like in the old days of the castles or the trolls, you know, you got to pay the troll fee to go, you know, to lower the drawbridge and to go through to the other side. Perhaps that is the strategy here that they're presenting. So let me know your thoughts. I want to know, what do you think the reasoning is behind this? Is it really just some prince in Saudi Arabia who's trying to make this happen? Or is there a more nefarious group behind who are helping to support this effort as they experiment with ways to entrap us for all eternity, or at least as long as we live? In Revelation it says, "In those days men will seek death, but will not find it." Could this be a situation like that? I'm trapped in the line! Let me know what you think and what's on your mind. Would love to get your thoughts. Be sure to leave some thoughts in the comments below. And thank you so much for joining me today. If you value this ministry, please help support us today by donating through the links on the screen and in the description. Thank you, and may God bless you.